This is Cherie's World.
Hey, if you're listening to Cherie's World podcast on Apple Podcast and iTunes, please give us a 5-star. Let us know what you think. Leave us a review. I want to hear from you. Thank you.
Fever Magazine, a sexy yet sophisticated lifestyle magazine for the modern man and woman. Fever Magazine is available on newsstands nationwide and Amazon Kindle. Subscribe now for VIP access and rewards at fevermagazine.com.
Welcome to Cherie's World.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have, my homegirl is in the house, y'all. She is Hollywood royalty. You know her from Hank Cooper, The Rock. For real, girl, you like generations in. She was on the secret world of Alex and Mac, which the homegirl just reminded me of the other day. The Parenthood, Kenan and Kel, Moesha. She was House Party. She's got new stuff coming out. She is an interior decorator. I can't say enough about this woman, and I love her, and also know who she is. So let me just bring her on. Her name is Miss Alexis Fields Jackson.
Hey. You are so funny. Hello, sister.
Hi, baby. Alexis Courtney is in the house.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, boo. I know you got
Are you
busy.
kidding me?
It's a
I
big
have
deal.
so much love for you. Surprised you asked me. When you did, I was like, absolutely. Are you kidding?
Are you kidding me? You know what? It's so funny that you say that because, okay, besides from knowing you since you were a little girl, I'm also a huge fan. So when the podcast, Courtney and I put like a wish list together, and Courtney asked about you, and I was like, I don't want to ask her to come on until we get like a good platform because I want her to be like on a good show. I don't want her just to
Girl, you playing. You could have asked me from day one. It could have been just us and my mama listening, okay?
Oh!
Okay. How do y'all know each other? I gotta know this. How do y'all know each other?
Just growing up in this thing.
Yeah, growing up this thing. It's about her mother. Everybody knows her mother is Chip Fields. Chip Fields is legendary. But she also is an amazing director. She used to be an acting coach. And she's done script. If there's a job on a set, Miss Chip Fields has worked it. Okay? One of my
She sure has.
She has.
We always joke and say she's lived 1,000 lives. I was looking at a picture a while ago, and it was of my mom in a boxing ring with fur on, holding the little card, walking through and I'm like, who the hell are you, Mama? Like, who?
Seriously? Your mom, seriously, she's a chameleon, and I have watched her. Like, I've been lucky enough to have been directed by her. She has been my coach on set. And that's one of my earliest memories of actually being able to really spend time with you. You were like 4.
Yeah, I was young.
You were a baby in my dressing room while her mama was being my acting coach because I think she was like the script supervisor or something on a show that I worked on.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Chip was the bomb. And can you tell your mom I love her? Because last time I saw her, I was getting my screaming child out of the car. I was a brand new mother with baby brain. And she turned around. We were in the parking lot of Walmart. And she said, Cherie. I said, ma'am. And she was kind of, and she looked at me and she said, it's Chip, girl. And I said, oh, I left my baby. And
You did not leave your baby in the car to go hug my mama.
I mean, my mom was in the car, but yes, I did. I left my baby. You know? And my baby was screaming and went out for a minute. And your mom looked at me and said, go get that screaming baby. I said, okay, I love you.
That is too funny.
So I never got to like have a conversation with your mama. Can I inbox you a picture of my daughter and so you could show her that this is the screaming ass baby that was in the car?
Oh my God! Of course, you better.
Thank you.
She will crack up.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna let Courtney get to the interview because he got all the questions and stuff like that. But one thing that I have to say is one of the biggest compliments that has been paid to me on Instagram is about your mother. They
Really?
said that I remind them of Chip Fields.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can actually see that. I see that more so than people saying I look like my mother.
Oh, you do. You look just
Because you do actually favor my mother. So yeah, I see that.
It is one of the biggest compliments ever. They got those memes like, which mama is you afraid of?
Yeah.
When she burnt Penny with the iron, and people be like, oh, that look just like you. Is that you? And I'd be like, man, that was legendary. But that's Miss Chip.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's funny. Yes, I could definitely see that. That's a good one because I hear that I look like a lot of people, and I'm like, what? But that one I appreciate that you do.
Especially right now, you should see what she has on right now. I mean, she really looks like your mom went on the scene on Good Times when your mom was trying to set up.
She got a scarf on her head.
Yes, right
sure
now.
Do. I sure do. And it's not just, and that was not done on purpose because we did other shows before. That's because I have a cold and I was not going to comb my hair today.
We've all been there. Shoot, we know what it's about. It's all good.
Before Courtney gets into TV, let me explain to you. My mama called me screaming and played me. I believe it was Tia opened up something in the valley.
Tamara in Napa, yeah.
I always mess it up. And you did all the interior. I don't watch TV, right, at all. So my mom was calling me, screaming. You gotta turn her on. Look what Alexis did. Da-da-da. And I said, damn. Not to be funny, but she's good. Alexis, you got an eye, girl. So tell me about this whole, I don't even know what it's called because that's like that fancy rich people stuff.
Interior design. It's funny that you say that because I actually am trying to bridge the gap because interior design is definitely a luxury, but it's been my hope that I can bring interior design to people who wouldn't normally be able to afford it. And bring luxury for a little bit less. So me and Tamara always joke about it because she's like, girl, you are the queen of the high-low mix, buying pieces that are extremely affordable and then sprinkling in a couple that might be a little higher end to elevate people's space. But I started designing because of my mom. So many things in my life have actually been sparked by my mom. She always has taken such interest in our lives, not to benefit off of it or to make money off of it, but just to really keep us going. And she's always encouraged us to search our gifts, to search our heart and our passions. And my mom and I started watching all the shows on HGTV years ago. And I'm talking when I was like a teenager. Wow. And even before HGTV got popular, there was another network and this guy named Christopher Lowell that nobody probably knows, but me and my mom loved him. And so we would watch. And then all of a sudden I started doing little stuff around my house and driving my stepfather crazy. So he would come home and my room would be painted like metallic copper. And then he'd come home the next day and his sofa would be in, the kitchen or like, I just do crazy stuff. And my mom and I kept getting in trouble because she was encouraging me and he'd come home like, where am I supposed to sit? Y'all done moved everything around. I don't even know the house. But they both ended up encouraging me so much. And I just grew and grew in it and fell in love with creating spaces that make people feel like they can do anything. And so that's what that is. I like creating warm spaces for people where they realize their potential by looking at the beautiful things around them. So that's that.
That's amazing when you say bridging the gap with money, okay? So, I'm a little hood. Talk to somebody like me. If I say, look, I don't have a budget to do my whole house, right? But standard size bedroom, how much is your basic service? Where does it start?
Oh, that's a hard one.
If I wanted to hire you, because people like me, we Black, you know what I'm saying? We got to know what we're getting into before we even dive into it.
Yeah, I will say, I won't say my service fee, but I will say my base budget. Like if I'm going into a space right now, I'm designing a hair salon boutique, right? It's just one room, and my budget for this space is $5,000, and that's a lot. You know, I know it's a lot when you.
It's not.
It's a lot when you think about it. But let me put it in context for you. So, if you're dealing with a designer, like I used to work for an interior designer, and that's how I kind of got my sea legs. Her base budget was $50,000.
That's what I was scared of.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with, and then there's other designers who will do a base of like 25 grand. So when you look at it, the reality of what it is, and then you come to my being willing to do it for $5,000, then that's just the budget for the materials and the furniture, everything I put in the room, then it makes a little more sense. I've done rooms before for $1,000. Do I like doing rooms for $1,000?
No.
Not particularly.
Right. So what about you? How do you get paid? Like,
I get paid. I negotiate a fee. Most of the time I don't do hourly because I really invest a lot of time into my clients' spaces, and I treat it like it's my own. So based on if the client's not in the space and I have access, 24/7, I'll be there for 15 hours out of the day,
Wow.
So most of the time, based on our budget, we'll walk through, I'll talk with the client, and then I'll present a base fee, a fee for myself based on what needs to be done. And a lot of the time, I've been very blessed and very fortunate. So a lot of the time I'm able to give a portion of my time. So you're getting more than you pay for. And, my husband is always laughing at me because he's like, "You're not charging for this one, are you?" And I'm like, "No," it's my heart. And it's the way I was raised. My mom is the exact same way. Yes. And when I can be a blessing to somebody, I'm going to do it. It's not about the money. Of course, we're all surviving out here. But like I said, I've been very blessed, and my husband has been a blessing, and just the stuff that I have done in my life, we're good,
So let's say somebody has about $7,500, right?
You said 1,700?
No, 7,500.
Oh,
If they got $7,500, can they reach out to you to maybe redo a room, or?
They can reach out to me. I am very, and that's why I don't operate through a website, because I'm very particular, because it is my creativity, and I think you have to protect your gifts, So I don't offer my services to everybody at this time. Ooh. I literally hand select who I'm going to work with. And it's all been word of mouth. I've just continued to work based on my clients referring someone else. So yes, I would consider a $7,500 budget, all inclusive, but I really would have to meet with that person and vibe with them and make sure what I do is what they want, and make sure their energy is something I want in my life.
Absolutely.
I'm very protective.
Because Cherie's World podcast listeners are going to come back to me and be like, "So how do I get to Alexis? Because I'm interested in her." That's why I'm asking you all.
Yeah, it's easier. It's probably easier to reach out to me for acting than it is for interior design. People DM me, and sometimes I'll give a little bit of advice via DM. But people reach out to me on Instagram asking, and I'm like, I'm not offering my services at this time.
Yeah, I could see like somebody saying, "Hey, I got $200. Can you fix my bathroom up?"
Listen, for real. And and I kind of have to remind people, and a lot of it frustrates me because we haven't had the opportunities to do a lot of stuff, and we haven't had the exposure by no fault of our own necessarily. You know what I mean? Right. It's something that a lot of us, it's new. The idea of interior design, most people have no idea what it costs, what it should look like, what the process is like. So So I just have to be protective of my energy and my space, because there was a time when I wasn't, and I was like, oh, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown up in here with these folks. Like, I'm not messing with this.
Well, I had to ask because, okay, so this is Clueless again, and this is a lot of America, I have to say, is like me. I was watching the Kardashians, right? Because I was on bed rest when I had my baby, so I watched a little bit of TV. Not something I don't really do. But I was watching the Kardashians, and I watched Kourtney try to invoice Khloe, and the amount that she was invoicing was ridiculous from being her sister. And she was like, I'm your sister, but I wasn't going to just do your house for free. And I was like, good Lord, there's no sister discount.
Right. And that's interesting, because they use an interior designer named Martin Lawrence Bullard most of the time. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I don't know that I do work for my sister. I wouldn't even call it work. I share love with my sister via design. And I've done, spaces for my nephew, and that I would never even think about charging them. I went up to Atlanta when they were living out there, and I hung out, and I was like, just feed me, because I'm not going to stop to eat, and I'll take care of it. But, we're a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know Kim would have looked at you like you was crazy. She'd have been like,
and if I would have asked her for something, of course she would have done it. But I don't even think she would expect me to roll that way. That's not the way the Fields roll. No shade to the Kardashians, because I think they are doing their thing. But just the way that,
crazy.
Yeah, the way that we roll, it ain't that. But also, if we were billionaires, I might be like, run me my money.
That's true. But I have to say that I am extremely proud of the outside endeavor. A lot of people don't even explore their other creative beings. And when my mama showed me that you did that, first of all, I love the twins. That one day I pray I can go after. But to see what they were doing, to see being involved with it and what you did for them, I was utterly proud.
Thank you. I love Tamara. I love Tia and Tamara, but I see Tamara so much more. And I adore her and her family. And I always tell her, I'd do anything. I did her dressing room for her, for the reel. And that's actually how we started our design connection. And now it's just, we have so much fun, that we're always looking for an opportunity to work together. So
she gave me the best relationship advice that I've ever gotten from anybody. She let me interview her a few years back when I worked for a different magazine. And I asked her, I said, how do you keep your relationship strong? What do I need to do? She said, girl, have a short memory.
Yeah.
And there's seriously, Kourtney's married too. Kourtney.
Right.
But now I can get that for a man, because men are taught that all the time, have a short memory. But I don't know women that have short memory.
I actually have a terrible memory, but I remember what I want to remember.
I was on the toilet the other day, and I was like, yep, she told me you have a short memory. And I play it back in my head from time to time.
Yeah, it's that's a gift that she has there, that we all aspire to have.
For real. Okay, go ahead, Kourtney. I'm gonna let you get her now. Kourtney's over there.
Well, Cherie knows I'm a fan of, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so, both of you all are part of my childhood. So, I remember you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I always liked how you, well, I don't know what's the right word to say, but the role you played on, like, Moesha, and even though.
Oh, can we cuss?
Yeah.
Hey, hold on, Cherie, can we cuss?
I was the bitch.
Yeah,
I was the bitch.
Okay, good. Okay. I wasn't going to say
it.
Okay. Yeah, but that's what, But then on Keenan and Kel, you wasn't.
Right.
Right. So, like, how was that? Like, that's some good acting right there. How you go from the the woman that or the girl that everybody hates. You played that.
I think
shit
she's
good.
my alter ego.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it, the bouncing in and out of it. That character comes so easily to me, and I'm the total opposite of her. But she's so much fun, and I feel like I can say what everybody is thinking, or I can say those forbidden things through her. So I kind of, would test the limits. But I always enjoyed playing characters that had a little sass and a little energy. And I knew even then, and we weren't as politically aware, and we weren't, everything didn't offend everybody the way that it does now. But I understood that that character only worked when there were strong Black women present that weren't that way. Do you know what I mean? Gotcha. Because I always wanted to make sure that I didn't create this stereotype. I knew that I was playing a caricature. And there are some women that are like that, but I put a little extra on it. And it was okay because I had a Moesha to balance it. You know what I mean? Where her head was on straight and she wasn't at all that way. And Nisi, who is Shar Jackson's character. So having Brandy and Shar portraying strong women who weren't that way at all made it a lot easier for me to play. You know what I mean? It
was so real because I really thought in the back of my mind, you got to remember I was 15, 16. I really didn't think that they really liked you, like in real life. Yeah. Like I really
no, it's funny because Brandy and I were so close that it was weird to people, I think, when they would see us together. You know what I mean? Because they wanted us to hate each other. Yeah. And that never could be the case between us. And it's just, it was a character. And she used to cheer me on, actually, because I think that was the first time I was ever really able to full-fledged just let her out, whoever she was. And I was only supposed to do one episode of that show because Shar she had fallen, had an accident, and wasn't able to do the dance that she was supposed to do in a flashback Lucille Ball episode. And so I was called in to audition to play this character that was basically just, keeping the storyline going since Shar couldn't be there for that episode. And that turned into me being there for a couple seasons. But I had so much fun, and I was so encouraged by Brandy and the writers and producers. They just kind of let me go.
Nice. You come from, now for those that might be listening that don't know, your sister is Kim with what is that like being in the house? I'm about to say Kim Fields. What is it like being in the house? Like, I know y'all not probably that close in age, but like, what is that like? Like, did she like help groom you to acting? Or?
Kim was when I was growing up. I was born when she was 12. Mm-hmm. So as I got older, she was off in college. She was going to Pepperdine and was doing her own thing and wasn't really living in the house with us. What a lot of people don't know is when I was like 18, I guess, 17, 18, I went and lived with Kim for a little while.
Oh, okay.
And I was just trying to find my own voice as a young woman. And I was giving my mom problems, not like super major problems, but I had a strong personality, and my mom has a strong personality. And so I stayed with Kimmy for a while, and you don't think about it. I think other people look at it like, wow, that's so awesome. Kim Fields is your sister, Chip Fields is your mom, but you don't think about it when you're in the family. That's just my mama and my sister, you know. Kim and I are very close. We the way that we talk to one another we just get one another, and we're very honest and open, and we joke a lot and laugh all the time. So, I mean, if I'm looking at it through that lens, I love being her sister, but not for the reasons other people love that I'm her sister. You know,
she's very sweet. For you guys who haven't had the opportunity to meet her, I'm outside the family, and I always felt like the big sister vibe from her to me, because she's very sweet. She's very, the whole family is very sweet, loving, and down to earth. And you know what's really crazy that you say what other people think is, I think because when I was a kid, I didn't realize the legendary behind Miss Chip. I just knew that if I was bad, Chip was gonna beat me, because she was like my mom.
Oh Lord!
Not with an iron. She didn't beat you with an iron.
No.
That's so funny. And my mom is so not that way. That's what's so funny, because people are afraid of her. And I don't even know if my mom ever gave me a spanking.
Chip never hit me.
She could give you a look.
Yes.
Like we were afraid of her, but not really for any reason other than she was our mama.
She was Black mama. She was gonna whip my ass, and then she was gonna tell my mom, and then I was gonna get my ass whipped again. That's how I feel. That's how you feel as a kid. But then you grow up, and social media, I think, is what made me realize, like, Kim's, I knew that. I looked up to Kim. I did TV, and I was like, oh, I could do what she does, because that's the only person I had at that point.
Yeah.
She was Kim. So I knew that, but I think it took until I was like 30 to understand what famous was and people's histories and social media. And when they started saying, oh, you look like Chip Fields, I was like, wow, what a compliment. Like, do you know who that is? And then it was like, Cherie, you know who that is. I knew her in a different way. So I was able to step back and watch you all from the outside instead of from the inside. It gave me a newfound appreciation. I am super proud.
This is Cherie's World.
Okay. Hey, this is Jamie Foxworth, and I'm on Cherie's World podcast. I don't know what to tell y'all, because this interview was kind of low-key whack, only because she kept asking me, how I feel about, family matters, and all. She was on there longer than me, so, and her little sidekick, he seemed like he knew stuff about me, but he wasn't asking the right questions, so, we'll see how it goes, but y'all go ahead and check it out. It wasn't my favorite, but there you go.
Not to change the subject again, because I didn't want to go back to TV, but Jamie Foxworth was just on our show, right? And we were talking about dating and what it is like to date when you grew up on TV. Now, Alexis, I went through my boogerwolf phase. We were talking about how we dated ugly men because we thought they were going to be nicer to us. And Alexis saw me out a couple times with my boogerwolf, who cheated on me and had a baby and all that kind of stuff. But Alexis, what was your dating experience like growing up on TV?
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. I got to go back there, huh?
Just for a moment.
I was a full mess, if I'm being totally honest. And if people that are listening follow me on Instagram, they already know. I like to be honest and real about my life. I was a hot ass mess. I was very, back then, I was very confident in my sexy. I don't even know if I fully understood what sexiness was, but I knew that I exuded something, and I knew that it was magnetic. And you're also on TV, so you get attention that, you might not get otherwise.
No groupies are good, is what she's saying.
And so, their groupies aren't just people that are outside of the industry, and you learn that very quickly when you're in the industry, and I played on my, my sexy. I definitely took advantage of it. And I dated.
As she should have. I knew it was time for me to leave the club when I turned around and Alexis and a few others her age walked in. I was like, why is my old ass still in here? It's time. It's time for me to go home.
That's how I feel now. I went out the other day, a couple of weeks ago now. I never go out, but I went out. And it's funny because when guys try to talk to me now, I'm like, oh, bless your heart. Like, you're so cute. Like, aw. And it's a totally different experience. And I'm looking around like, these girls are in their 20s, and my old behind is in here for what? But I rarely go out. It was just a random moment where I hooked up with some friends and we had a good time. But yeah, it's different out there. But dating, I had fun. I'll put it that way. I had fun, but I had a lot of heartache and learned a lot of life lessons.
The guys, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The guys, like for me, I like the way, I actually liked the way you were on Moesha. So do you ever find like the way guys, like they were looking for that girl?
No, I think I was closer to her at that time. I wasn't a bitch, but I was just confident, you know? So I think that my confidence filled the gap, you know, if they were looking for her. And I don't think they were disappointed by who they got. I'll say it like that.
She was very outspoken and lively. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Would she still?
Guys were intimidated by me, if anything, because of the characters that I played. A lot of the time, people would think I would be mean, so they wouldn't approach me, or they would be so timid as they approached me. And I'm like, "What's wrong with you? Like, talk. We good?" You know. So.
What's the craziest way somebody ever approached you?
Oh gosh.
Cherie, you answer too. I want to know this.
Oh God, I don't even know if I can think of anything right now. It would probably be my husband. But go ahead, Cherie. What you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I always get the drunk guy in the club. So.
Oh yeah, that I wasn't even counting that. That's kind of
Hey, what do they say to you, Cherie? What the drunk guys say to you?
I just get the corny niggas, the one that be like, you know, hey, what you doing after this, mama?
Yeah.
What's your husband say to you to sweep you off your feet? That's a good.
He we met in a weird way. We were at an event, and he actually had somebody come up and talk to me, and I didn't know because I knew the person that came and talked to me. But he asked me if I knew this guy named Kevin Jackson who worked at Adidas, and I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, he's a guy you should know, you know, come on, let me introduce you to him. Industry-wise, you guys should connect. And I'm like, okay. So he takes me over to him, and Kevin completely plays me. Like, he shakes my hand like, hey, nice to meet you, and then turns away. And I'm like, what am I over here for? I'm mad. And then come to find out he had set it all up because he had been asking people if they knew me for a while. And finally he saw me. So he set that up. And then we ended up, the place where we were at the Neverland Ranch at Michael Jackson's house. And so we went and got on all the rides, and the rest is history. But yeah, he played me a little bit in the beginning.
Let me find out, because girls always end up liking the one that don't pay him no attention. He plotted that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, he played me a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
I have a question for you. I need some mommy advice. So I was on Instagram the other day, right? And I saw your son was on there talking about how everybody was being mean to this little girl, but he wasn't going to be mean to her.
Yeah.
Right before I saw this, I had my little girl to play place, and the little boy punched her. He punched her, and she hit him back, which I didn't know at the time. She punched him, right? She
Good
came
for
to me.
her. I mean, oh no.
Yeah, she came to me screaming and crying, and I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, "Are you hurt?" And she was like, "No," but she wasn't talking. And her friend didn't want to tell on her, but she wanted to tell her mom what happened because we were really worried that my baby was hurt. My baby said, "I think I killed him." I said, "What?" She said,
no.
"He punched me in my leg. I punched him in his heart." She takes Taekwondo 4 days a week. So this 8-year-old little boy hit my 5-year-old daughter, and he hit her in the leg. She said it didn't really hurt, but it hurt her feelings. And she punched him in his heart. But after she punched him in his heart, she panicked because she didn't want to kill him. But I wanted to kill him.
Poor baby.
So what are you doing different? Because this is the second time my daughter has been assaulted by a boy who's older than her.
Listen, first of all, congratulations to you because you're not in jail.
Thank you. It was
So
rough.
I think that we all need to stop and applaud that. I don't even know. I don't even have an answer for that
Thank you.
because I think that and I'm fairly new as a mom of a boy. My son is only 5, but I talk to him all the time, and he actually did hit a little girl one time. She was pulling stuff from him, and he hit her, and he didn't punch her, but he did hit her. And that I took that as an opportunity to really enforce you don't hit women, you cherish women, you are gentle. If somebody hit mommy, how would you feel about that? Trying to just explain it to him where it wasn't just words, don't hit a girl, but where it became personal for him and where he understood that he has to innately become a protector of women. You know what I mean? And as he gets older, we'll kind of iron out what that actually means and how you stay away from certain types. But I'm just saying, as a young man, if he hears the woman screaming, I want him to understand that he should go and find out what's going on. You know what I mean? So I think it's more on the mothers of boys and what we teach them about their interaction with women. And it's hard, and I know there are probably some times that I deserved as a woman to be punched in my mouth, with my mouth going off. But, you can't do that. Right. And I think it's about what we drill into our boys as they're growing up, and the examples that they see. But I don't know what for you on your end. I've never experienced that with my daughter.
Man,
I don't know what I would do.
It's ridiculous. She said he threw a ball at her, like the little play balls, cheese or whatever. And she said he threw a ball at her and she threw the ball back. And she said she did hit him in the head. And after she hit him in the head, he came and just socked her in the leg. And she said, she said she went on to play. And as they were climbing through this maze, he approached her again. And she said, when he approached her, he was bigger than me, Mommy. She said in the ball, she didn't know how big he was because they were all kind of sinking. But she said, he was bigger than me, Mommy. And I punched him in his chest. She said, because he was like after her. She said she was like running through the maze and he was like coming after her. She said, I punched him in the chest and I thought I killed him. But I found him, and what the reason why I didn't go to jail, I went up to him and I found him before I found his mother. And I was screaming at him. I was like, you want me to? And thank God there was like a net in between us because I couldn't reach out and touch him because he was on the upper level and I was on like a trampoline, right? And I said, you want me to come up and punch you? And he was like, no, ma'am. I said, where's your mother? You want me to tell your mother? And he was like, no, ma'am. So I told him, you bring your butt down here and you go find your mother. I said, because you don't hit no girl. I don't know what they told you. And I can't tell you everything I said because I was pissed. But his mother was very soft-spoken. She was very, I'm so sorry. My son is 100% wrong. He should never hit a girl. And I said, to be fair, my daughter punched him in his chest and his mother said, as she should have. He deserved it.
Right.
I was ready to fight his mama. But how you want to fight somebody's mama who's so calm, very soft-spoken? She knew he was wrong. And she got him and got his coat and got out of there, But I don't know, man. It's been twice. I don't know if it happens again, how I'm going to react. I might go to jail.
That's a lot. I honestly don't have the answers because Auntie Lex would have been like pulling out the Vaseline and taking my earrings off. Like it would have been an episode of The Oval up in there. Like we would have just had to go to blows. I don't know.
It was bad. But I just loved it because it was like right after, and I had said something on Facebook and I had all these mothers saying, I teach my son it's okay to defend himself. It's okay to hit girls. I understand, if they get hit, you are supposed to defend yourself. But no mother said, no, I teach. Like it was very rare where mama's on there saying, I don't teach my sons not to hit women. And I was like, this is what's wrong. Women are the biggest men who do wrong.
Yeah.
I saw your baby and I was like, oh my God, thank you. A mama who gets it.
Yeah, and he has his challenges and his issues, and we talk about them. I try to talk to my kids, and again, I don't know if I'm doing it 100% right. I'm learning as we go. And I say to my mom now, I laugh because I'm like, oh, you didn't know what you were talking about. You were guessing half the time, huh? And she's like, yeah, girl. Like, you realize that you're really trying to figure it out as you go.
Well, from the outside,
I think
you're doing a beautiful job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you,
Alexis,
Cherie.
Alexis, I'm in
Yes, sir.
kind of the same situation because I got two sons, 7, 5, 7 and 5, and then my daughter is 9. So
Okay.
my middle child, my son, middle child, stay right there, middle child, right? He does not understand. Well, I ain't gonna say he doesn't understand. He's confused because like his sister hit, and I wouldn't punish her the same way I punish him. So he asked,
Right.
and so I'm trying to, because he asked me these questions. He's like, so girls get to just do whatever they want to do, and boys don't.
Oh.
And so I'm trying to explain to him, no, and I'm doing the same thing you do, like saying, no, you got to protect. You're here to protect, because what if someone does that to yourself? So I'm glad to hear that you said the same thing with your son. But I want to ask y'all a question about Gabrielle Union. Did y'all see what they took that picture with?
Yes.
How do y'all feel about that? With the Thanksgiving picture that they took, and then the heat that the negative.
Oh wait. Oh no. I'm sorry. What happened with that? I thought you were talking about the hair situation.
Me too. I don't know about no Thanksgiving picture.
They her and her husband and their son, and I don't know what is.
Oh, with his nails.
Yeah. And everybody.
I think it's nobody's business but that family.
Yeah.
I think it's, and I grew up at a different time when it wasn't considered okay, right? So I'm talking from the standpoint of a young woman who grew up where everybody was saying, no, you can't be you, whoever you are, Right. And I think it's a beautiful thing that they're allowing their son to express himself in whatever ways are true to him. And you can't, in my opinion, stifling who someone really is only makes you create a monster when you do that, or you create someone who is extremely delicate and hurt that can only go one way. You know what I mean? Like you have to allow people to be who they are. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother you. It has nothing to do with you. Let that boy enjoy his life. Let him wear his nails, which were looking fly, by the way.
Okay.
Can I
I just looked it up right now because I had no clue what you were talking about. But I'm like, what is wrong with his?
Can I ask you ladies a question as mothers?
Yeah.
Okay, if you see your son, and let's just say he's playing around, and then he just happens just to walk in one of y'all high heels, do you tell him no, boys don't do that, or do you just say in this day and age, just if that's what you want to do?
I'm gonna be 1,000% honest as a Black mom for what the evolution of that for me, right?
Okay.
At first, it was like, no. Yeah, at first it was like, you don't do that, or that's for girls, right?
Right.
Now, and my husband, he still, will say something. I'll be like, babe, we can't do that. We can't say that to him, And so we're trying to navigate through that. And he hasn't shown anything, but just like if there's, I remember on social media, someone made a comment because my son had a kitchen in his play area. And I was like, what do you mean that's girly? What does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean? And it was out of context because honestly, the chefs, the food industry is dominated by male chefs. So it's just dumb to even, say it like that. But it just made me realize, like, we're so conditioned to be a certain way that we are limiting the freedom and the personalities of the generation that's to come. And how are they supposed to express themselves through art? How are they supposed to create and shape the world if they're hiding in a box? You know what I mean? How how do they keep this thing going and elevate this thing if they can't even be true to who they are? So I think we're doing a disservice to ourselves, really, by limiting.
Those are the same men on social media who write me talking about what you cooking or can you cook. I'll be like,
right.
dude, I don't get out my inbox because you ain't never coming to my house to eat nothing. I will cook anyway. So,
but I do think having a kitchen is different than, you know. Don't we supposed to teach a 2 or 3 year old, you know, right from wrong, or just say?
But there is no right from wrong. What's wrong is if you put on my $1,500 heels and you scraping them on the ground. So you gonna
right. That's wrong.
Baby, you better walk. That's what I'm saying.
I think that the definition of right and wrong is, as we know it, is shifting. You know what I mean? And I don't think that what we were taught was right. I think that we were taught out of fear. And I think, and I'm not saying just our parents, I'm saying the generation that raised us. I think they were afraid. And so I feel like that the definition of right and wrong is it, if my son is walking around in heels, will I feel some kind of way about it? 1,000% on the inside, if I'm being real, probably I'll have that little moment, that old person that jumps up based on how I was raised and what I was taught, right? Like, wait a minute, no, what does that mean? What does that say? But then me understanding what that really means, I have to talk myself down and go, wait a minute, you ain't right. You are out of order.
Yes,
so I think it's just a shifting of,
It might not mean nothing. It might mean if he wanted to put on some stilts and see what it would be like to be tall. That's all it might mean.
Right.
But as adults, we read this stuff too much.
It could mean something else.
How you say your husband feel? What do you say your husband do?
My husband, you know, the way that he was raised, he's a little bit older. My husband's almost 50. So we're both trying to undo the stuff that we learned. And that's why, you know, when you heard the stuff about like Kevin Hart saying what he said, it's like let people grow and evolve and change, because we're all trying to undo some things that we learned, you know? And I don't think that makes, I think that we should have this space to evolve and change and take ownership of those actions and then say, I'm flipping that because I recognize that was not okay. But society today, everybody is so quick to just cancel you and throw you under a bus. And it's like, well, wait, I'm saying I need to change and I'm working actively at changing. Give me a second, you know? But I think that there are a lot of young men and young women. We can't, you know, just put it on young men who are experimenting, but the young women also who are trying to find themselves and feel a certain way and are told they can't. I think that we have to create safe spaces for them to explore and experiment and be who they are, because I think that they will bless the world later as healthy individuals when we give them that space.
Beautifully said.
This is Cherie's World.
Cherie here, Chief Green Alchemist at Going to Natural. Do you know it takes less than 30 seconds for your skin products to enter your bloodstream? Yeah, so knowing what's in them, super important. We know you want what's best for you and your family. And here at Going to Natural, so do we. We care about the environment, we care about the animals, and most importantly, we care about you. We offer free support for your healthy journey and love providing affordable, all-natural products that are responsibly sourced, cruelty-free, luxurious, and always made with love. We're not just a shop, we're a community, and we'd love to have you. Browse our collection of plant-based skincare products and natural tips and tricks at shop.goingtonatural.com. That's shop.going2natural.com.
A conscious brand for a conscious community.
Use code LOVEEARTH for 15% off your first order.
Hey folks, this is your real estate agent / investor Andre Key, and I'm with Central Metro Realty, serving Central Texas, but I can also work in all 50 states, including Canada, helping you with your real estate issues and concerns, whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, wholesaler, flipper. come to me with your real estate concerns. We definitely have the key. You can find me at keyofaustinhomes.com or Andre Key, Texas Real Estate Agent on Facebook, or Team Key _TX on Instagram. Or just give me a call at 512-815-3539. Again, that's 512-815-3539. Andre Key, Real Estate Agent, Investor. Reach out to me. Key is the last name, no gimmick. I just happen to be in real estate, and I have the solutions for you.
2020, right around the corner, Alexis.
Oh, shit.
What are your goals? What
I thought you were about to ask me about elections and stuff. I'm like, listen.
I won't even go there. I'm just gonna scream, anybody but Trump. But
I don't even know about that. But yeah, what's my what? I'm sorry.
What are your goals? What's going on? What are we looking at?
My goals. You know, I have a very strong faith walk going right now, and I said a couple of years ago, a year ago, I tweeted that I had a feeling I was going to be on a series in the next couple of years, and I booked Leslie Odom's pilot, and we did that, and that kind of happened out of nowhere. And so I still am holding strong to that faith walk that I will be back on TV regularly this year, and just putting in the work to prepare for that.
Is that the Untitled project that you did with Kerry Washington?
That is. It was
super.
Yeah, that was
so excited. I said, I'm so super proud and so excited for you. What was it like working with Cherie?
Oh my God, I was so in awe that I couldn't even really talk to her, and she was so loving. And so we had a dinner, and she came and sat next to me and was just talking to me, and I'm like, you don't even know. I didn't say it, but I'm like, you're my hero. I'm talking to, and she'll never truly understand what she did for me, because even just the structure of our faces and our mouths, and I literally felt like I was seeing myself on TV for the first time when I had been on TV already, you know.
Right.
But it was like I felt beautiful, and I felt seen, and I felt powerful watching her. And so to be, from the moment I met her, I actually met her on my birthday. I went in to do a chemistry read, and it was the first time I met her. And I walked into her office, and she was just sitting on the floor in her office and super playful and smiling and talkative. And I was just like, what the hell is happening? Like, that was me. I'm not a person that gets starstruck or cares, you know, but I had a moment. I would say that's the closest to starstruck I've ever been.
That is amazing. When I saw that, you know, because I don't watch TV, so I had to go do a little bit of research. And I was like, my girl did that. Like, I just got so proud. That's so
We did not get picked up, but it was, we didn't get picked up. But it was such an experience. And for me, that was my first thing back. That was my first audition. That was everything, you know.
Amazing.
And so for me, it just solidified that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. Design is a major part of me and a part of my expression, but so is acting and entertaining people. So for me, it gave me that confidence back.
And for people who don't understand, I'm gonna let you talk, Courtney. I'm so sorry, but she said it was my first audition back. You get one audition out of 100. That's statistically what they say. So that was 1 in a million, baby. You got some more in you. That means you still got it.
Yeah, it was God was moving, because it happened in a way where I couldn't take I wouldn't take credit for it anyway, but I absolutely couldn't even think of taking credit, because the way it was orchestrated, God's hand was all on it. So it was like, you just have to be grateful and say, oh, okay, I see you, God. Because after that, I didn't go on an audition for months. And then I went on one audition, and that was for All American, and I got that. And I was like, I realized that sometimes God will do something extraordinary and out of the ordinary to get your attention and, shake you like, come on, what are you doing? And I was ignoring this part of me because I was afraid. I was insecure, and I felt like the industry I felt like it had taken something from me. I felt like my childhood, I put too much on it. And so I was afraid. I didn't like the rejection that I started experiencing as I got older because I wasn't used to that. And so I ran and I hid, and that was the worst thing I could have done. But thank God I'm a person who owns my shit. Oh, can I say that? And the same people are going to be like, how you say thank God and then cuss in the same sentence? Anyway, but thank God I'm a person who owns my issues. So I was able to grow from all of it and use it as stepping stones. So I'm just grateful for another opportunity. And I was able that love was rekindled as soon as I started auditioning. And then when I walked on set, I was like, oh my God, I'm home.
Yes.
I'm home. I went in my dressing room and just cried.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh.
Alexis, I totally understand that. I don't know if I've told you, I'll tell you off the show, but 2 years ago I ran away and I moved away from California because I felt like I was suffocating. Right?
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, well, if you move, how are you going to work? I did not move to an Atlanta. I am not in New York, and they were like, how are you going to work? And I said, all anybody talks to me about is the industry.
Yeah.
It gets old. Yeah. It gets tired. I just want to raise my baby. I want to be mom and I want to live. And I didn't feel like I was doing that. And it's funny how when you step away, you spend a little time, God calls you right back to where you're supposed to be. So that moment that you're saying when you're like, oh my God, I'm home. They flew me in. I was doing, like, whoever thought I would come back and do Punky? I walked onto the sound stage and I looked at the set and I bust out crying in front of everybody. So at least you went.
Girl, I feel that though.
And it was like a thank God, because for a moment, even though I had just worked, I just did a film in June, but it was different.
Yeah.
And totally different, But I walked back on the set and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
I had the aha revolution, thank God moment. So I'm glad I'm not the only one to boohooed and cried. But I understand. I understand. It's real. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever be in your life, because everybody like they own a piece of you, and that's hard.
Yeah. The people watch you grow. I mean, you know, but people watch you grow up and they feel like their voice is louder than yours about what you should and shouldn't be doing. And if you're not acting, people will make you feel like a failure because that's the only lens they can see you through. And they don't, that's it. It's unfortunate that you can't, in some people's eyes, you can't go and do anything else and be considered successful or just be considered at peace and happy. It's like your life is in ruins if you're not doing this thing
constantly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice that you guys feel a part of our lives and we appreciate the fact that you love our careers and we meant something to you, but sometimes we want to own ourselves too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just want to walk in the grocery store and pick the good apples.
Right.
I know it sounds good. Courtney, do you have anything else for her before we let her go back and be mommy?
Well, my question probably be too long and complicated because I really didn't understand. Well, because I'm not in part of Hollywood, so I didn't understand. So you telling me a pilot show starring Kerry Washington and yourself didn't get picked up? I don't get that.
Cherie wasn't starring in it. She was one of the executive producers, and Fred Savage was one of our executive producers and director. And Leslie Odom Jr. was, who was from Hamilton. He was our star and executive producer. And yeah, it happens, you know. It's a very competitive industry. There's only so many slots, and there's a lot of things that have to align for a pilot to be picked up and ordered to series. And it didn't happen this time, but it was such a joy and a pleasure to go to work every day and learn from Carrie and learn from Leslie and learn from Kelly Jenrette, who was our other star. It was a joy, the way that all of us came together and created this environment of love and family. It was necessary, I think, for our lives and where our journeys are going. We may not know why, but I feel like it was necessary. It planted something in each of us that was there and a part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You got something else?
Our last question. This for both of you. But for both of you guys, I just heard that there's a rumor that Moesha might be rebooted.
I just saw that too.
Yeah. So, how do you feel?
We heard what you heard.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm happy for everyone involved. I think that Brandy is such a gifted soul, and so it'll be nice to see her doing her thing and reprise that role that so many of us grew up with.
If it's real, I say congratulations. But like I heard, Family Matters was coming back for the past 3 years.
You said you heard who was coming back?
Family Matters for the past 3 years, and that doesn't mean if they came back, that doesn't mean I would be invited back. But what I'm saying is, just because we heard something, don't mean it's happening. So
yeah, I saw that Brandy said that she was confirming that they were going to bring it back. I don't have any details on it. You know, I can't share any good behind the scenes details. I actually just saw that this morning.
Okay.
So, or not this morning, maybe this afternoon. But yeah, so that would be great for everyone involved. I
agree. Yeah. Alexis, thank you so much for being here. I love you.
It was a joy.
This was such an honor from me to be.
For me too.
To talk to both of you all at the same time. Like you guys don't like. I'm a kid from Chicago, and I watched both of you all. And you would, if you told me at 15 and 95 that I would actually be interviewing you and talking with Cherie, I'll just be like, I'm smoking weed again. Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed this conversation. I'm actually in my client's salon right now, just pacing around. So,
oh my God, I'm so sorry. We kept you.
Why are you sorry? No. Don't be sorry. It's a good thing. It was nice to be able to talk about my other love and my other passion. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thanks for having me.
Can I tell you a 30-second story real quick before you go?
Yeah, of course.
My wife went to this thing in Chicago like years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and Kim was there, Lorenz Tate, a whole bunch of people was there, and Kim was giving hugs and taking pictures before cell phones, so taking real pictures and stuff. And I just remember my sister-in-law put her hands on Kim to get to take a picture.
Oh Lord!
And Kim said, "Girl, your hands is too cold." and so my sister-in-law thought she was just joking, and she put her arms on her again. She said, "Girl, I just told you your hands is too cold." So they had to take a picture. Like, it was just funny. I didn't think about that.
She does not play about stuff like that. Like, especially, we always get her and like touch her neck, and she immediately is like a turtle. Like, she scrunches down. She's really sensitive to people touching her. It's not a joke. Like, she really, it's funny to me. I would have been laughing. I wish I would have been there because I would have been laughing.
I was laughing.
But that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That is hilarious.
So dope to talk to you.
It was awesome to talk to you and meet you and Cherie, thank you for having me.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? Thank you so much for being here. I was actually nervous to ask you. Like, I just wanted to make sure that we had a good platform and everything before I asked you to come and join us.
Girl, please. No, it's never like that. It's never like that. We're all out here building together. And I'm glad to be of service in any way that I can. So.
Oh, thank you so much, Alexis. That means everything in the world. And I am you are gorgeous. You've always been gorgeous, but just like sometimes I'm like scrolling and I see you on my timeline and I'm like, look at my baby. My baby is gorgeous.
Thank you. I will give part of that to the filters that Snapchat and Instagram have shared with us.
No, I
cannot take total credit.
Hey, and tell your husband that I'm a work in progress, just like him. Me and him both working at this together, trying to.
Oh yeah.
I'm old school, so I'm trying to get into.
Yeah. So. A lot of us are, and I think that it's just important that we continue to have the conversations and that we really consider the heart on the other end of that conversation. Right. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we were taught to look at homosexuality as a spirit, right? When we were growing up. So it was like this horrible thing that jumps on you and takes over your life. And, and we weren't sensitive and understanding to the actual person that is on the other side of those horrible things we were saying and being taught. You know what I mean? And so when we understand that whether someone likes a woman, whether someone likes a man, whatever, or both, they are still just as much human as we are, with every right to love and cry and bleed and laugh and whatever as we are. And it's not our right to determine their fate and their life. It's not our right. Right. And we just have to undo the teaching, and it's slowly but surely, and it's harder. It's easier said than done, but we have to deprogram. Right. So, right. So I'm not here to sit and knock you and be like, why you didn't, I get it.
Word.
We've been taught something else, but I'll tell you who else was taught something else, and we don't, we can't give them the leeway to learn. Racist.
Right. Real talk.
Oh.
Real talk.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people who will listen and say, well, that's different because people think that, you're born black, but you're not born gay. So people have different arguments for different things, but I'm just saying people were taught to hate us. Right. They were taught to hate us, and they were taught that we were less than. And so I can't look at somebody coming up today and be like, oh, it's okay that you're racist because your mama was racist.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, you got to do better.
Right.
You have to do better, and you have to change up. So it's on us. It's on us to take the responsibility to shift our thinking and be understanding. You might not like it. It might not be for you, but nobody's asking you to go and participate in certain activities that make you uncomfortable. Right. You know what I'm saying? But this isn't just about sex. And I think so often we place people's, who people love, we put it on, if you're gay, it's sex. It's, I don't understand that sex. It's not just about the physical aspect of it. This is people's lives and their hearts that we're talking about. So
yeah, Cherie just explained that to me like a couple weeks ago. She was explaining that to me.
Yeah. We did a show about World AIDS Day, and I had one of my friends on who happens to be gay, and we had that whole conversation.
Yep. It's necessary. Like I said, the conversations and us actually humanizing people and not putting them in a category that makes them less than or so different, when we just understand the humanity underneath all of it, no matter what we choose to do or who we choose to be with, I think that we'll be kinder to one another, just all across the board. So, right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm over here grinning so hard because not only is my baby gorgeous, but my baby intelligent too.
I appreciate that. I am still learning and growing. This the world is different that we live in, and I'm learning so much, and having to undo a lot myself. So we're all works in progress.
Absolutely, we all are. Thank you so much for coming. I'm bugging you next year. I'm honored, seriously, to have you on the show.
As am I. So,
thank you you've been consistently lovable and down to earth from day one. Thank you for never changing.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that. I appreciate that. That means more to me than anything. So thank you.
Thank you, Booski.
All right, y'all.
Welcome to Cherie's World.
Would you like to advertise on Cherie's World and have your product placed on Cherie's social media for the world to see? Email us now at cheriesworldpodcast@gmail.com for low introductory rates. Cherie's World Podcast. Get heard.